Hello and welcome to Politics Today, reaching you live from our global headquarters here in the nation's commercial net center, Lagos. I'm Jeffrey Uzanga, sitting in for Sheon Okimbale, who took the day off. And there's a lot to track as far as the state of the nation and the polity is concerned. And one of the first places we need to start from has to do with Rivers State. Tomorrow is going to be the D-Day for the local government elections in that state. This is amid a lot of controversy, amid a couple of litigations over whether or not these elections are meant to hold or is meant to hold across the 23 local government areas of the state. And we understand about 19 political parties will be, fielding candidates to elect chairmen and councillors. And this has generated a lot in the polity. In fact, one of the political parties is even emerged. They're involved in some sort of a controversy, if you will, where there's a disagreement as to which faction or which group of that party will be presenting the candidates for election. So amidst all of this, whether at the political party level, whether at state level, there's been a controversy. But the resident electoral, the chairman of the commission, that's the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission, I said, well, the elections will go on across the state. He said sensitive materials have been distributed. Police has assured that security will be beefed up, appealing to citizens to be in their best behavior, interpreting in his words now, just paraphrasing what he says. So look, it's the determination of the people. Eventually, it is the people that will determine who will lead them at that level of governance. But let's take a listen to the chairman of RISEC.
Over the past month, RISEC has worked tirelessly to ensure that every aspect of the electoral process is meticulously planned and executed in line with the provisions of the 1999 Constitution as amended and the Rivers State Independent Electoral Commission law as amended. Training has been conducted for all categories of electoral staff. The voters' register has been published and is ready for use. We have also engaged in broad consultations with political parties, civil society organizations, security agencies, and community stakeholders to ensure credibility and inclusivity. We have received assurances from the security agencies that adequate personnel have been deployed across the 23 local government areas to guarantee the safety of voters, election officials, and materials. Appeal to all political actors, candidates, and their supporters to conduct themselves peacefully and in accordance with the law. The power to choose belongs solely to the electorate, and no one must attempt to subvert that will through violence or intimidation.
Well, that is the elections getting set for tomorrow. Channels Television will be on ground to make sure we cover every aspect of what's playing out across the 23 local government areas with all the political parties that are participating in this particular exercise. But let me tell you what we're doing today on the program. It's going to be the State of the Nation conversation. I'll be joined by a former presidential aide. Reno Omokri will be joining me in just a moment as we talk about a few things about the country's security, especially in that aspect. And I'll also be joined by a professor of strategic development who is also going to bring perspective to issues around the nation. So it's a good time for you to sit by your TV and listen to what we have on offer tonight. But again, tragedy has struck in Sokoto State following another boat accident that occurred in Shagari local government area of that state, leaving many passengers, we understand, are feared missing. Now, the special advisor to the governor, Ahmed Aliyu, at the Sokoto State Emergency Management Agency, confirmed this to journalists today. We understand officials of the State Emergency Management Agency had been dispatched to the scene of that accident for search and rescue operations. According to him, SEMA officials are working in collaboration with the National Emergency Management Agency and the National Inland Waterways Authority to rescue survivors and recover victims. And this is quite a very sorry and sad development because not too long ago, similar incident that occurred where I think about 20 people, if my numbers are quite correct, were lost to incident like this. And we're thinking by now corrections would have been taken, measures would have been taken to prevent. This is what you can call avoidable death. But yet again, this has happened. And we hope that with this, the authorities at the state level, at the national level, whether it's SEMA, NEMA, and the state government will step up and do whatever it is, insisting that at least, I don't know whether the people wear life jackets and all of these things before they travel on that road, on that particular waterway. But our thoughts and our prayers, that's what we can offer with the families of those that have been affected. But these are avoidable deaths, and we should not be losing our citizens to situations like this. But before we get to the conversation, let's bring you our political roundup stories.
The federal government is assuring Nigerians that passports will now be delivered within 1 week of enrollment, following sweeping reforms in the issuance process. The Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, gave the assurance in Abuja during the ministry's mid-tenure performance retreat. He explains that the new system is designed to eliminate long delays and extortion that once forced citizens to wait 6 to 7 months or pay as much as 200,000 naira to fast-track the processing.
The issue of passports approval, we will need to remove that power away from PCOs if we want it to work. Then there is no day that we do more than 10,000 passports. We don't. That's the truth.
Former Kano governor and 2023 presidential candidate of the New Nigeria's People's Party, NNPP, Senator Rabiu Kwankwaso, has declared that he has no plans to abandon the party. Speaking in Abuja at the 9th National Executive Committee meeting of the party, Kwankwaso told party members and supporters that contrary to speculations of him defecting to the ruling APC, he emphasized that any negotiation regarding the 2027 general election will be a collective decision, as he believes in party supremacy.
People are loyal to the leadership, as was being said by earlier speakers. So we are open. We are ready to talk to anybody who wants us to work together for 2027.
Meanwhile, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, in Rivers State has called on eligible voters to take advantage of the ongoing continuous voter registration CVR exercise, not only to register but to ensure that they collect their permanent voter cards, PVCs, when ready. The resident electoral commissioner, REC, in Rivers State, Professor Gabriel Yomeri, made the appeal during the official flag-off of the current CVR exercise at the INEC State headquarters in Port Harcourt. According to records from the commission, a total of 251,405 PVCs from previous registration exercises remain uncollected in the state. Professor Yomere cautioned that while registering for the voter card is a foundation of democratic participation, the entire purpose is defeated if citizens fail to collect and use the cards to vote.
If we don't register, registration is the first stage. The second stage is to collect the PVC. If you register without collecting the PVC, it's as good as not registering, because you will not be entitled to vote.
A political structure loyal to Senator Kabiru Garuba Marafa, the Zamfara State Coordinator of the 2023 APC Presidential Campaign Council, has officially resigned from the All Progressives Congress, APC. The decision followed a meeting held in Kaduna, where leaders of the structure deliberated on what they describe as worsening insecurity, marginalization, and neglect of Zamfara State under the APC-led federal government. In a communique issued after the meeting, the group expressed grave concern over the deteriorating security situation in the state, citing recent statistics that place Zamfara as the most affected by kidnappings in the country. Lastly, the Kebbi State House of Assembly has passed the Premarital Medical Examination Bill 2025, making medical screening mandatory for all intending couples in the state. The bill, presented by the House Committee on Health, was passed after undergoing the first, second, and third reading and was formally adopted by Speaker Mohammed Usman. Under the new law, prospective couples are required to undergo medical tests, including genotype and blood group screening, at a recognized health facility not later than 3 months and 2 weeks before their union, and a valid medical certification issued by a qualified medical doctor before any marriage can be formalized.
And those are the stories we've been tracking for you as far as the politics and polity is concerned. Let me bring in my first guest on the program. Reno Omokri is a former presidential aide. He joins us from our Abuja studios. Mr. Omokri, good to see you. If you can hear me, Mr. Omokri, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. There's a delay. There's a couple of seconds delay, but I can hear you.
Okay, fantastic. I was actually looking forward to what you wear today because I know you embody what you call the Nigerian spirit, always representing and showing that patriotism in your dressing. So we'll give that to you as far as always trying to make sure that you wear the made in Nigeria, whether you're in the LA or you're in Lagos or you're in Abuja. So good to see you. Let's get straight to some of the things we'll talk about within the time we have. And that is the latest that has to do with your coming to Nigeria because you want to, show the state of the Kaduna-Abuja road, Abuja-Kaduna expressway. It's quite a stretch of several kilometers. But I wanted to understand what the intention was. Why did you see the need to go there and do all of the videos you did? My producer, I'm sure, is going to be showing some of it as we speak.
Well, two things, Senator Rabi Mr. Kwankwaso, who you showed in your roundup, he did say something about the president and northern roads, and he said the president was concentrating on roads in the south, in the southern part of the country, especially Lagos. And I felt that it was necessary for patriotic people to come and then set the situation correct. I wanted to show Nigerians that the Abuja-Kaduna-Kano road, which he mentioned, he specifically referred to that road, was not abandoned. I wanted to show them that that road is being given a treatment that will make the road last for 50 years. So I took journalists there from various news media, Arise, AIT, Punch, Daily Trust, a bunch of people, Vanguard, and I showed them the road construction that was being done there with reinforced steel, with reinforced concrete. And then also there were issues about insecurity, with some people spreading propaganda that that road is experiencing some serious issues of insecurity. And I wanted to prove to Nigerians that that's not true. So I went with these journalists. Before the journey, I asked them to search the cars that were going. We went in 5 Prado Jeeps, and they searched the cars. There were no security. It was just me, the journalist, and Wale Ojo, a Nollywood actor. And we went on the journey, from Abuja to Kaduna. Now, when you go on that journey, just about 80 kilometers from Kaduna, that's where you have the hotspot previously in the Buhari era, where there was a lot of banditry and kidnapping. And in that hotspot, you have every 1 kilometer, you have mobile military outposts. Mobile military outposts every 1 kilometer. So we stopped at those mobile military outposts to show Nigerians that the road is secure, especially as there's been a derailment of the Abuja-Kaduna the railway. And so a lot of people will now have to use the road network rather than rail. So I wanted to show Nigerians that the road was safe. And that was the purpose for the trip.
So let's probe further on this particular journey, the yeoman's job you did to say, okay, this is not as it is as far as it's concerned. So for clarity, because I think I read on your X handle, I want to be sure I saw that correctly, where you said every 1 kilometer has security outposts. Because that's a stretch. That road should be about maybe over 2 hours from Abuja to Kaduna. I think the data shows about 160-something kilometers or more. So are you saying the entire stretch is every 1 kilometer there's a security outpost? Is that what you meant, or you were misquoted? Is that what you're saying?
No, I mean, if you listen to what I just said, and I'm going to repeat myself, I said it earlier. I said, just about 80 kilometers into Kaduna, that was the hotspot. That was the hotspot. You see, you got to understand, in security matters, you don't concentrate your armory, your weaponry, your men of war where there is no enemy. So the hotspot for the banditry and the kidnapping during the Buhari era was just about 80 kilometers into Kaduna. So in that hotspot, every kilometer in that hotspot, every single kilometer, you've got military outposts. And these are mobile military outposts. So, for example, maybe the bandits, a lot of them have been killed. About 14 of them, Boderi, Ali Dangote, several of them have been killed. But suppose maybe new Kachalas, new bandits come up and then they go to another hotspot. Then these are, in that 80, from that 80 kilometers into Kaduna, you have about every 1 kilometer. And I didn't just say that. I had journalists coming with me, and these journalists, they verified it. Journalists from Arise, from AIT, from Punch, from Vanguard, from a bunch of Nigerian news media.
So I wasn't there with you. What I'm seeing is what is on TV and perhaps what is reported. So I'm just looking at the data as just to put numbers to what you have done, which is, if you say, let's assume it's about 80 kilometers of, every 1 kilometer of that journey has a security outpost. And if we have an average of, from the video I saw, I think I saw about 5 men in one of those outposts. If we have an average of, say, 4 persons in each outpost, we're talking about over 300 security personnel. In that sense, when you see that level of security, isn't that in itself a sign of fragility on that road in itself, rather than safety?
That's the thing. You got to understand that when you have a government, the purpose of the government is to provide law and order, to ensure that there's law and order, safety in a country. So wherever you have incidents of banditry and kidnapping, it doesn't matter whether, you know, it's coming from Nigeria or it's coming from foreign forces. You have to provide security. So, I mean, what you're saying right now is that, oh, you have a lot of people there. No. The government will, it's better for you to need and not have than for you to have and not need. So it's better for the government to overwhelm that area with security personnel to guarantee the safety of Nigerians. And that's what's happening. I mean, if you recall, today in Mali, the jihadi forces have just overrun their second largest city in Mali. And that comes because you have a government that wasn't taking security very seriously. In Nigeria, we've got a government that's taking security very seriously. If the death of one citizen matters, then I mean, you have to overwhelm your roads and your hotspots, areas where you have these banditry, even in Zamfara. You've got to overrun those places with security because your citizens' lives matter.
Yes, I'm just saying that I'm happy you're well-traveled. So if you go anywhere and that is the level of security across any area in the world, you know there's a serious concern as far as the mindset of whoever is coming as, maybe for business or for pleasure is concerned. But we know that that place used to be a very terrible hotspot. Things are a lot more improved. Perhaps is why you went for this particular trip, to prove all this. Now, one of the questions I wanted to ask you and find out from you, why do you always see the need to come back? I know you did the Kaduna, no, not Kaduna, Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. I remember that was a very controversial one. We're going to come to that. And then now you're doing this. Why do you see the need to always come and try to prove otherwise?
Because where you have a vacuum, nature was a vacuum. If somebody was doing it, I wouldn't have to do it. But I'm a patriot, and I've got the means, I've got the resources. So I mean, if you were doing it, then I wouldn't have to leave California and come and do it. I'm doing it because there's a vacuum, and I do not want, I'm going to tell you something. If you watch the videos that I showed, and then you watch, I think it was aired on Arise and also on AIT, you see that I stopped at a local market to price produce. I priced yam, which in Hausa is called doya, and onions, and then fruit. And they were ridiculously cheap, you know, very inexpensive. The reason why they're inexpensive is because farmers have security, and because they have security, they can go back to their farms. So everything is tied down together. So if you have people spreading rumors, spreading lies about the state of insecurity of this road, it's going to scare away local and foreign investors. When you scare away local and foreign investors, it's going to affect the GDP of the country. When it affects the GDP of the country, it's going to affect jobs, it's going to affect inflation, it's going to affect, you know, a lot of things. So if I can play my little part by coming to dispel those, would I say, unfounded allegations, then I will do it. And I have no apologies for doing that.
Well, it's commendable, your patriotism, but we also do our work. We have correspondents everywhere. Across that road, they travel, so they know exactly whether what you're saying is true or not true, or they can disagree, all of that. So for the records, we have people on ground to do all of these things as far as verifying is concerned. But you needed to respond to perhaps somebody making a statement on a political podium, and you needed to put that correctly, and which you have done. And which is what takes me to the issue of believability. Because I know that in the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road, there was a bit of a controversy, which is why I was trying to ask you exactly how many spots were visited, how many soldiers, because if you say 80 kilometers of the very hotspot area, and there are people in those outposts, and I gave you the number about 300 plus, you say, okay, it's better to supersaturate. Because there was a controversy, if we go back to the issue of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. I remember your post when you posted and said you were standing at the exact 30 kilometer, and that generated a lot of controversy. I think there was a response somewhere. You later went to do verification, to prove your point, but you didn't even get to that point of the 30 kilometers. You stopped just before the 20 kilometers, and then the drone flew over. So that is, do you feel, my question will be, do you feel that...
No, I need to clarify. That what you just said is not accurate. What happened, and I did a video, and this, I mean, thank God these things are on video. What I said is that when the president commissioned the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, what we did is that there was a figurative 30-kilometer mark. And I explained, and I said that the 30 kilometers was not in one full stretch. It was from Ahmadu Bello Way up to Okun-Aja axis, 20 kilometers non-stop. And then, after that, from the other end, it goes on another 10 kilometers, actually more than 10 kilometers. It was not one stretch. Nobody ever said it was one stretch. And the reason why there was a bit in the middle is because and that's the same thing that's happening on the Abuja-Kaduna road. It needs some time to set, because these are roads that are being built to last for 50 years. And so when that controversy, it was a needless controversy, when it started, I came back and I went with journalists. I went with, a bunch of journalists, Arise TV, AIT, several journalists, and I showed them. And Arise TV, Premium Times, I believe, was it Punch, several media, they did the story the next day, vindicating me, saying that indeed more than 30 kilometers had been completed. Not even 30 kilometers. So let's put the record straight. No,
Mr. Omokri, that is not the subject. My apologies. That is not the subject of debate as to whether it's 30 kilometers or not 30 kilometers, because we were covering that thing live on Channels TV, and I did remember, I think the engineer saying the first part, which you clearly spoke about, was almost 20 kilometers. Then that interface, the other part, 10 kilometers. But what was generated as a controversy was the effect that your words were, in your post, this photo was taken at the exact point of the kilometer 30 on the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Road. That was what generated controversy. The reason I'm bringing this back is...
No, hang on. And I need to clarify, you see, because I know what happened. It was not that post that generated controversy. There was already controversy by a young man who done a post saying that not up to 30 kilometers of that road had been completed, and that the whole commissioning was not true. A young man had done that. Now, that post was in response to that young man. And then when people did not understand it, that same day, I did a clarification video. I said that place where I was standing was the figurative, and I used that word, figurative 30 kilometers, because you did not have 30 kilometers at a stretch. You had 20 kilometers, and then there was a portion in between because they had to let that place set. And I think it was going to take 6 months for it to be set. And then after that, there was a portion of 10 kilometers, actually more than 10 kilometers, but we said 10 kilometers. So I did a video to explain that. So the controversy happened even before I did that post. That post was in response to that controversy, and the controversy was needless. Right. In any case, I took journalists there, they saw by themselves, and they reported the next day that indeed more than 30 kilometers of the Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway had been constructed.
Does the president appreciate the effort you put in to do some of these things you do?
I'm not doing this for the president. I'm doing this for my country. So I'm a patriot. A patriot supports his government only when they deserve it, but he supports his country all of the time. I'm not doing this for the president. I'm doing this for my country. I'm quite comfortable. Some people who are watching this probably follow me on social media. Right now, my life is basically one big holiday. I had a childhood dream to travel to every country on earth. And because God has blessed me, I have the means. I have been traveling seriously. I travel a lot. So out of that time that I have, that free time, if I can come to my country to put the truth when people are demarketing the country, going abroad, saying all kinds of nasty things about the country, then I consider it a life well spent.
All right, Mr. Omokri, we'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll get to another leg of the conversation. Just a few moments, let's talk. There's no way I will have you in the studio, and I'm not going to talk politics, because you do a lot that has to do with politics. Because someone will be wondering, why doesn't Mr. Omokri want to work for the president? You said you're doing it for Nigeria, but you're already campaigning for the president. So it's a bit confusing. But maybe you respond to that in addition to the political question I will ask you when we come back after this break. Please stay with me. Welcome back. My guest is Reno Omokri, former presidential aide. I see him as an unapologetic Nigerian, always embodying his Nigerianness, if you will, with his outfit whenever I see him. He joins me from Abuja studio. Mr. Reno, we have about 3 minutes. Let's see how we can wrap this up. And that has to do with the politics that is playing out. There are so many dynamics now. The PDP, for instance, has zoned its presidential ticket to the south. They say they want to correct the mistakes of 2022. They are even open to the fact that they are wooing persons to come to the party, including your former boss, former President Goodluck Jonathan. Do you think it's going to be a good idea for Mr. Jonathan to attempt to come back and run for office again this time?
I need to make sure that Nigerians and you understand me, because I'm not sure that you do. You see, let's take the Abuja-Kaduna road. Now, let's say this is Abuja, this is Kaduna. Now, you start driving, and then you get to 80 kilometers from Kaduna, which is the hotspot for the abduction, the kidnapping in the past. In that place, from that 80 kilometers point, you begin to have military outposts every 1 kilometer. It goes on for a stretch. I can't recall how long that stretch is. It might be about maybe 20 kilometers, and then it stops because it's only in that hotspot. Now, after that, then you still have military outposts, but it is not every 1 kilometer. So that's that. So that I hope you understand me, and I hope your audience understands me.
No, Mr. Reno, it's not a question of misunderstanding.
I have unconditional love for President Jonathan.
Okay.
Unconditional love for President Jonathan. And so I will not criticize, and I will not give an opinion on anything he does on live television. This is a man who came to California, spent 10 days with me and my family. That's the kind of, level of confidence he has in me. And so anything I have to say about what might be being speculated, I'll say to him personally, not on TV.
I always like your position for persons you respect, as far as this is concerned. But I also put you on the spot, so do some permutation for us. But since you referenced what you said, so Mr. Reno, let me read exactly your words on X. From the most dangerous road in Nigeria, the Abuja-Kaduna road is now the safest road, not what you said, what you wrote, in West Africa, with security outposts every 1 kilometer. If we take this at face value, whoever interprets it either way, I hope you know may not be wrong, based on what you have written. That's what I just needed to be clear on that. I don't want us to go, I think we've established what you've done and comment.
Yeah, but you see, that's the thing, you have different formats of communication. I did a video, and I also did that. I also wrote that, so you have to understand, when you're writing on X, because what you're reading is on X, you only have certain character limitations. And that's why I did a video to explain that. And that's why, again, I said to Nigerians here, the hotspot of banditry and kidnapping is about 80 kilometers into Kaduna. And from there, you have the military outpost every kilometer. And then after you pass that hotspot, then it starts to reduce, it starts to pan out.
All right, I don't want us to overdwell on that, but I think we both understand ourselves. As I said, I always like to talk politics with you now that I have the chance. Since we have a little more time, let's talk to politics. Now, we've seen the dynamics of what has been playing out. Now, I know you don't want to comment about your former boss. I know you also hold that position with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who you have a lot of respect for. But this is politics at the end of the day. Are you really, with what you've seen in terms of security, rule of law, the big one, the economy, and all of that, we can go on and on. If we had the time, we would have broken it down into the different aspects. Do you see President Bola Tinubu being re-elected in 2027? And why are you convinced?
Well, I see President Bola Tinubu as somebody who deserves re-election. And the reason why is just very clear. This is a man, in 2 years, he's added $67 billion to our gross domestic product, GDP. It's never happened before in Nigeria. In 2 years, he's added $67 billion. Now, this was a country that used to generate, budgets, serious, trade deficit. Right now, we got a trade surplus from last year, about $14 billion. Now, you saw that what the Director General of the World Trade Organization said, he stabilized the economy. A lot of people don't understand this. They think that, okay, yes, Naira under Buhari was, I think, about 400 Naira to $1. They don't realize that that was not the true value of the Naira. The Naira was being subsidized. The Central Bank of Nigeria was spending $1.5 billion every month subsidizing the Naira at that cost. And this was not money that we had. This was money that we were borrowing. The man has floated the Naira, done away with that. And you see that even states right now, they are getting about, some of them are getting as much as triple, but certainly each state is getting at least double what they used to have. So the incidences of non-payment of salaries at the state level has, I mean, almost been eliminated. I think there are just like little flare-ups here and there, but by and large, it's been eliminated. So the man promised during the campaign he was going to do 4 things. He said he was going to devolve power from the federal to the local government. We've seen that with local government autonomy. He said he was going to remove fuel subsidy. He's done that. He said he was going to float the Naira. He's done that. He said he was going to give student loans. Almost 1 million indigent Nigerian students have benefited from that. I see no reason, based on what he has delivered, why this man should not be re-elected.
Okay, Reno, let's dig deep into the issue around the economy. Now, there are a few things that are in the right direction. If you understand economics, I think everybody will agree to the extent, like the WTO DG has said, the economy is stable. One of the things she was primarily referencing was the exchange rate. At least we have, is bounded around 1.5 and some excesses. So for instance, that means that for those who do carry trading, for instance, interest rate maybe in America is about 5% or so. Inflation is about 2-point-something%. If I take a $10,000, for instance, I put in the Nigerian economy, say if I can be able to buy, say, a T-bill that is 19% per annum, at the end of the 1-year period, when I pay back my interest and adjust it to inflation, the man will be making an extra 1,300. So from inside in, that's why you have all these FPIs coming in. But within is really affecting and biting in and biting hard on manufacturers. Citizens are getting the crunch of this, which the government has acknowledged. At the moment where we are, what other thing can the government be telling people than being patient? Because a lot of people are saying, whatever it is you're doing, it may be looking good at the macroeconomic level, but it's not compounding to us. And for us, success is compounding effect to the citizens. What do you make of that?
But that's an opinion. You've just given an opinion and you made it seem like Nigerians that you're giving a fact. Look, let's look at facts. For the first time in the history of this nation, the all-share index of the Nigerian Stock Exchange has gone over 100,000. That happened in February last year. Right now, it's about 123,000. So we've seen that on the capital market, which is one of the ways that you can gauge the health of an economy, that our industries are doing well. Nigerians have to realize something. Fuel subsidy has gone, and of course it's going to bite on you. The reason why it's biting on you is not because the government's economic measures are bad. It's because fuel subsidy has gone. We were borrowing money to subsidize fuel. Now we are living, this is what we call reality. Before it was film trick. It was a fool's paradise. So we cannot keep on borrowing because we want our people to live a pleasant life. Yeah. What that means is that we are sacrificing the future of our unborn generations. Right, so we need to look at the facts. In this country right now, you talked about
Mr. Omokri, we're totally out of time. My apologies. My sincere apologies.
In this country right now, in Nigeria, the interest rates are beginning to stabilize. And unless you have stability, you cannot have growth. I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
Mr. Omokri, so that we're clear, I'm not speaking opinion. I gave you facts, okay? So it's not about opinion. So for clarity, interest rate is 27%.
Yeah, but what you said...
No, hold on, Mr. Omokri. I allowed you to talk.
What you said... hang on. What you said is an opinion, because we don't have time. What you said is an opinion.
Mr. Omokri, just hold on. I've allowed you to talk so that you understand me as we close. It's not opinion. Interest rate is 27%. You know interest rates.
I wasn't talking about interest rates.
I referenced. Those are the things I referenced. No, hold on, Mr. Omokri.
No, but hang on. If you don't understand what I'm saying, then how can you respond to it?
You did not respond to my question. No.
Listen,
sorry. Just a moment, sir. Just a moment, sir. What I was saying was that from outside in, the things look good, but we're feeling the brunt. And I gave you an example of the interest rate and the stability. What is bringing FPI? Stability of the currency and interest rate. Wherever interest rate is high, investors will naturally come in. So for outside in is good, but inside out is affecting the people. And I was asking how messaging can be done differently to help the people to understand what is going on. So it's not correct for you to say it's just an opinion. But I must thank you for coming. Maybe we'll fix another time for you and I to talk economy entirely. But thank you so much. Just 2 seconds. I'm totally out of time.
Respond to that.
What did you say?
Let me respond to that.
2 seconds.
Let me respond to that, please. Yes. Okay. Foreign portfolio investment in Nigeria is up. Foreign direct investment is reduced, but foreign portfolio investment is up. And what I was saying was an opinion, was what you said, that the people are not feeling these measures. That's why I said that no, that's an opinion.
Okay.
I was not saying that the interest rates and other things are not opinions.
No, not a problem. Not a problem. My apologies, Mr. Omokri. I know that if I allow you fire from all cylinders, another day I will invite you. Let's talk economy.
Okay, but we are no longer on air, right?
No, we're on air. We're on air. But I must thank you. Reno Omokri.
Oh my gosh.
Former presidential aide. Thank you for coming on the program. I must thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it. Take care. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Professor Omokri Ikechukwu, strategic leadership expert, joins me in just a moment. Stay with us. All right, we'll now switch gears to another part of the conversation within the time we have. As far as the state of the polity is concerned, so we did tell you at the beginning of the program that Rivers State will be getting out to the polls tomorrow for the local government elections that are taking place across the 23 local government areas. And 19 political parties are participating. But let me bring in my guest, Professor of Strategic Management and Human Capital Development, Executive Director, Development Specs Academy. Prof, thank you so much for coming on the program, and I want to apologize. Thank you for your patience as well.
Thank you.
So, Prof, let's begin with your overview of the pulse of the politics. There are a lot of fireworks, including what I call political hot air going on. So let's start with the PDP now saying, look, we're going south. No matter who's ox is God. That has generated a lot in the polity. The APC has also come to say, well, we may have endorsed the president, but you are free to come pick ticket and contest in the primaries. What do you make of what is really happening with the political space and the pulse of the polity?
I think there's nothing wrong with what's going on. Beginning with the APC, the statement they've made is suggesting, there's the democratic space, it's open, everybody is free to contest. I can relate to that. But you may not know, I have a black belt in Shotokan Karate. And with that skill, if all you have is traditional wrestling skills, and they open the village square and they say, everybody is free to come and contest. You know, if you enter, I'll take you to your ancestors in less than 1 minute. So the APC, they know anybody can come out, but the question is whether they can take on the man who is already on the field. So it's understandable. In the case of the PDP, I have a concern to share. PDP has it as part of its, if you like, rules of engagement, that there will be rotation between North and South. That was violated by the last engagement of Alhaji Atiku Abubakar. The party ignored its own rules. Now he says he's going south. It makes sense. It doesn't make sense. The other question to consider is whether it's going north or south. Can we say today that the PDP actually is a political party capable of contesting competently with candidates that can be taken seriously? That's the question the party should ask itself. Naturally, Atiku would want to come out among others. Whether there will be consensus around that candidacy, especially given the battered condition of the party, is another matter. They are going south. That is supposed to give it an appeal. I don't know whether that will work. So all things considered, yes, political fireworks, but what I see are political enthusiasm extinguishers all over the place. Much of what is going on is not likely to draw traction. No one is deceived by the politics. People will do more of wait and see. Whichever of the parties and the candidates surface above the murky waters and looks credible and shows capacity to contest, that's what the environment will fly with. But any comment now will be purely speculative. The air is unclear. ADC is wobbling. Most of the people there have issues. So we'll just wait and see as far as I'm concerned. Nothing to panic about. Let's see what or who floats above the water.
So, Prof, now that the APC has shown us what they have on offer, I was just talking with Mr. Reno. Towards the end, we're talking about trying to get into the economy for want of time. The APC has being clear that he's capitalist in his approach, at least the government of Bola Tinubu as far as this is concerned. And we see the effect on businesses, citizens, and the perception of the international community. If you aggregate all of that, you can make of it whatever you want as a citizen. But where I'm going to with my question is to the effect that now that this posturing is quite clear and the president is not shifting grounds, just saying, look, wait and see what is going to happen because I know I'm in the right direction. What should be the counter-argument from the opposition that Nigerians may want to listen to?
The opposition has to come up with solutions. I think already there's something to the advantage of the opposition. It is a fairly widely acknowledged fact that the government took the second step first, rather than the first, in the matter of the subsidy. The palliatives came a little late. There are missteps. But quite frankly, when I look at the opposition, and I've said this on your program before, I don't know what the opposition represents. I don't know what argument they are putting forward or they are going to put forward. What is clear to me and to you and to a lot of people is that people are suffering. Yes, there are macroeconomic indicators showing gains in savings, showing increased investments drawn into the country. All of that, nobody can deny it. But in the end, all of us are from villages, not from towns. All of us have cousins, have brothers, have sisters. 90% of them are not in cities. How are those people feeling? That's the question to ask. How much of these gains are trickling down to them? Now, the position of the government is that it will trickle down over time. I haven't had anybody say convincingly why it will not trickle down over time. So on both sides of the argument, we'll wait and see. But one thing we must admit, at the risk of even sounding mischievous, is that things are not looking good right now. To move from there to say that things will not be looking good tomorrow, that will be pushing speculation a little too far. So my position is, the reality is what we are looking at now. Let's see the change. And we are not getting narratives from the opposition that suggest that there's a change we can see, other than the claim and advertised aspiration to replace the APC. With what? I haven't seen. With the characters on the table, we have their history, all of them. I don't know what to choose between them and even the APC. So, again, I say, we watch to see what floats above the water.
Prof, I'm almost lost for words.
Oh, yes.
with your landing thought. I'm trying to get around it. They are also accusing the ruling party of what I would term tactical immobilization. So there are people, for the candidates, for instance, Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar and the rest of them, it appears there are persons that are appointed, like in football, they call it man-marking. Tactically mobilize the person and persona to bring him down.
To closely mark them.
Yes, and then for the political party, they seem to be running helter-skelter in terms of court cases.
Look, Geoff,
so
let's look at it this way.
Yes, sir.
If we are playing a game of football, my business is to prevent you from scoring against my team. It's only a foolish government that will allow the opposition to run it out of town. It's also only a foolish opposition that will expect that the government in power will carry it on its back for it to overthrow it. So if they are complaining that they are doing close marking on Peter Obi, on Atiku, really that's what they ought to do. If they can do anything to prevent Peter from contesting, they'll do it. If they can do anything to prevent Atiku from contesting, they'll do that. So it's for both Atiku and Peter and whoever else is aspiring to ensure that doesn't happen. I understand that Rotimi Amechi is also contesting. That's an astonishing candidacy. They must have reason why they think he's a viable candidate. But to the substantive issue you raised, they are saying that they are being subverted by the APC. Do they expect to be facilitated by the APC? That's the question they should ask themselves. They should ask themselves, why did we lose the last time, and what is it we need to do to ensure we don't lose again? That should be their concern. If they are hoping to draw sympathy from the public by crying and rolling on the ground, sorry, they will buy detergent to clean their clothes. Nobody. There's no element of pity in this matter. Design and adopt the right strategy, apply it, take out the person you want to take out with your strategy. This is not about violence or crooked means, but demonstrate the capacity to contest and win. That's what is needed at the moment. The whining has lasted for too long and they should stop. At some point, the claim was that, oh, you know, the APC has been subverting the parties by giving people 50 million naira within the party. 50 million, that's enough to subvert your party, and you say it's a political party. Get real.
Prof, you came with gun blazing for the opposition. I'm wondering how they are thinking about the strong words. Let's go away from politics for a moment and talk about governance issues. I know that when the president visited Yokohama in Japan, the issue of the booth being manned, the gentleman went there, said he had to be an honorary consul. That created a lot of furore. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs came and said, look, that booth is meant to be opened on the second day for a 3-day event. That even caused a lot of questions. While we're trying to get around that, Bayo Nanuga, the spokesperson of the president, came and reeled out that they are not there for such outposts, showpiece, or showmanship. They are there for other forms of negotiation. It looks like, on one hand, the foreign ministry is saying one thing, the spokesperson is saying another thing. Talk to us about the messaging and management of public space in terms of communication, which is your expertise, by this government.
Government communication should always come out as a one source or at least one theme engagement. If I am Channel Studios, the reason why I'm here should be known to everybody connected with me, with Development Specs Academy. If you now ask our Director Training and Legal Services and he says I came here to exchange pleasantries with a friend, and you have 3 different explanations, the impression you get is that, oh, Development Specs doesn't seem to have its narrative in order because we now don't know who is the actual spokesperson for the organization. So that's the image that the outing in Japan has given, and it is not the correct one. It's not the way to go. Foreign affairs, what I suspect here is limited liaison. If there's a statement coming from the foreign affairs, we must avoid a situation where a counter statement would come from any other person connected with the government. So the optics are not good. But we can also say that optics are bad all around at the local level. If you, for instance, pay attention to the Ministry of Information, no matter the odds being raised, anytime the Minister of Information speaks, you're not in doubt what he's saying about specific government policies or government trajectory, etc. Now, if other people then speak on the same matter and give counter-narratives, it becomes a different thing. But you notice that has not been happening at the local level. So the incident out there is from poor liaison, consultations. If somebody has spoken and I know he has spoken, for me to speak on the same matter, I'll either align with what he has said, if that's what you intend to say, or move from what he has said to explain an aspect of it that was not captured in what he said. But if both of us make absolutely mutually exclusive statements, it will not give a good optics. And I think that's the negative that came from that. But again, it is an incident in the life of the people and the government, and life goes on.
You know, Prof, as we begin to wind down, one of the things that I always like to ask you because you wear many caps, communication, leadership, and several other things that you do, and this is very...
Fortunately, you haven't said I'm an unknown gunman. That's the cap I hope you're not assigning to me.
You can never be an unknown gunman. It will never happen. Never. So when you look at the crop of politicians we have today, what kind of succession do you think, and this is just a generic question, that whether it's APC, PDP, just look at the crop of today's politician, because the younger successor generation are watching them. What do you think they're handing in from a leadership point of view, based on what they received, as we close?
From a leadership point of view, based on the notion of leadership as the business of ensuring the welfare of the people and the state, without excluding anybody, we've, in the last 25 years, evolved a culture of what you might call a burglary-based form of godfatherism, where people put somebody in their stead when they are leaving, and through the second person control the state by proxy. That is likely to continue across all the parties, across every part of the country, because to begin with, if you look at the entry requirement, how much you have to pay to get nomination form, how much you pay it will cost you to run through the primaries, how much endorsements you'll need to get from those who are already in charge. It will tell you that, look, it's likely to be more of the same. And the younger ones are taking the cue from that and looking for whom to please in order to be reckoned with. That's very bad politics. That's very bad optics. That's also very bad leadership recruitment. It might change in some form, but the broad strokes we are seeing show that it will be, okay, Ikechukwu, who is sponsoring you? Who are your godfathers? What assurances are you going to give for us to support you? That's likely to continue, unfortunately. That's my reading of the environment at the moment.
Prof, it's always a pleasure and a learning curve whenever we speak to you. Professor Ikechukwu is Executive Director at Development Specs Academy and a Professor of Strategic Management and Human Capital Development. Prof, thank you, and thank you for your patience and understanding, sir.
Thank you.
And that's it on the program. Thank you so much for your time and company. I'm Jeffrey Uzonga. Goodbye. Good night.